Hi, and welcome to the Bigger, Better, More podcast with Hoku and Emily. We'll be having high vibrational conversations about everything, from where we are to where we're headed. Stay tuned for the full episode.
How are you?
I'm good. No, I was just writing and it was kind of relative to something we were talking about, and I thought of you and I was like, "Ooh, I wish I could get this out because it's such a visualization." And I wrote it
Oh my
down,
God,
but it's,
please.
you know how it's different, like when you
Yes,
explain it versus when it gets written
yes.
down. But
I
so it
want to hear
was,
what's happening.
well, it wasn't, I didn't start out specifically relating it to this, but what they were showing, like when we were talking about being self-centered versus centering in the self.
Yes.
And I really loved how you
Mm-hmm.
put that as centering in the self. And they kind of gave me this, oh, they're just telling me to read it rather than explain it. I can explain it afterwards.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, well, and I was saying, because I've been feeling weird, and so they were just kind of walking me forward on the energy, because they were like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "I want to be clearer and more
Mm-hmm.
inspired." And they're like, "Okay, let go of the haziness and allow clarity. Is this what you want? Is this what you want to do with us?" And it's like, "Yes."
Right.
And they said the inspiration comes with the allowing. Quit trying to think this is not your thing anymore. They're making a joke. Now, allow for what is
Uh-huh.
coming forth as knowing from your center. Yes, you are seeing the old way of living from the outside in, as if you were a void. And what they showed me as a visualization on that was kind of how we reach towards the world and try and bring it to us and put us. Uh-oh, what is that noise?
Sorry, that was, I don't know what was just happening. I think my ear hit the number. Say it
Oh,
again.
when does Mercury go out of retrograde?
I know. It's like next week. It's still happening. We're still here.
No, I mean I've had the most ridiculous stuff happening. I mean it's almost comical, really. Um,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know.
but oh,
It's all working out. Oh my God.
um
Please continue.
so the visual they were giving me is kind of us as this dark space, but kind of us as we perceive ourselves as lack and trying to fill in from the outside, like, oh, I need these things. I need to connect in these ways, but you're like bringing it into you. And then the second part was the old ways from the inside out, as if you were a void. Now you know that you can live from the inside out, you being the source of your life, and that all that is being the resource. So it's kind of like your center of being
Ooh,
is the light.
ooh.
And it's how I always envision it. It's this light that's in you, but is fueled by the rest of the all that is light, right? As a resource, as a source,
Right.
and
Right.
coming through. And then your emanation is just aligning you with all of that and aligns you with other people who are also that, because the demonstration of it's like attracts you know, all the dogs see each other.
Right. Are we in
um
alignment?
well, and they're saying this is the
Okay.
new
Okay.
actuality. It's not just a potential, it's this is what's happening.
Right.
So
Right.
um when you have this greater knowing, you can fill up with your resource, with source energy, and then connect to that and allow that to flow. And then it's kind of reverse process. It's not trying to bring everything in and get it to us and align with it. Like we well, they're saying we pretend we're doing that all the time, but we effort to do it rather than emanating more and having that be a bigger signal. It's a bigger call when you are a bigger light as to who you are. And it's not a it's an allowing. It's not a, okay, I'm going to pump my energy up and make it big. And it's like, no, that's not how you do this. You
No,
allow
that's not
more
it.
energy in. You allow yourself to be more expansive. You allow yourself to be more light and bright. And they're saying we're just lining up with the notion of what that is and how that actually feels, right? Like we're getting those moments of feeling and shifting into this kind of blossomed out state, and where, you know, they're showing me somebody, smelling the aroma of a flower. It's like that's a connection, right? That's a, you smell my
Oh, that's
beautiful
cool.
fragrance, right? So it's like,
Right.
and different ways of interaction. Then they just showed me a bee landing on a flower, and it's like that's a different type of interaction, but it's kind of this greater interaction with the world that is not given by you having, the flower doesn't go out and catch the bee comes to the
The bee.
flower. So
Say that
allow
last part one more time.
I said, you don't have to go get the flower, doesn't go get the bee comes to the flower, you know?
Oh, allowing it to come to you. That also has to do with what we were talking about. Yep.
Yeah. But it's kind of this shifting of, because the old idea is we have to reach out, it's figure it out, make it happen versus allowing. And it's like that's the shift of it. But it's kind of an energetic shift of knowing, no, 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 you are the resource. You do not have to
Right.
plot and plan and prod and figure out and make it happen and, get the resources from outside of you. The
Right.
the the source of all things in light, we can say love energy, or you know god particles or adamantine particles or whatever you want to call them. It's like the basis of
Mhm.
all. you know it's so funny, I was about to say positive energy, and they're like, but all energy is positive. It's, if it's negative, it's a void, right? It's, if it's negative, it's,
Oh,
there's
that's
a lack
good.
of light. So
Right.
anyway, so like that centered part of you, but the way I kept feeling was, feel the fullness of what you are inside, because we're so used to perceiving ourselves in lack. And it's like, just keep filling that up, just keep filling that resource up, just keep filling up. It's like, am I bright enough? Is the energy on high enough? Am I running, enough fuel? Because this is what fuel looks like now, because I was feeling all draggy and ugh, and it's like, okay, so,
Mhm.
let's walk you over the pump here. It's like, let's get you back open and allow it. And it wasn't like I was feeling bad. I was just kind of feeling like, I want to say shook out. It's like when you've been through it and you're just like, but it's like they're saying that's also the perfect time to fill up with the good stuff. But you have to know you're the good stuff to fill up with it, because otherwise you're not allowing it fully, right? Because we can pretend we're in lack. We can pretend we get our
Oh,
resources from outside of us.
yeah.
We can feel that
Yeah.
way. We can try and have that experience, but it's contrasting constantly. That's why everything feels efforty and struggly. It's like, because we're trying to do something that's actually behind us. It's like we don't have to do that. We can just align with our fullness, but we haven't done that fully yet. And that's why, to open up, to let that be okay, to let, our fragrance waft out into the world and attract in what it attracts in, you know, because they're saying it's like we're so used to, like, let's make it happen, let's do this. And it's like,
I know.
it is a little less of that, because you don't get to see the magic happens if you're pushing the plow, you know? So I know they're
You can
mixing
relax a
metaphors.
little bit more. No, it's good. Well, but that kind of the mixed metaphor there really works, because if you are pushing the plow, you're not on the plow. Maybe it doesn't work. It sort of it feels like it works.
Yeah.
What is a plow? Plow is you're moving the thing through the field, right? That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah, but it's like a manual doing of, But the thing is that when you're doing the manual doing of, you get really distracted and in that, and you don't pay attention or are available to, the, I don't know, the tractor that's now available. I don't know, like whatever that is, whatever
right,
metaphor
right.
goes next to that. But well, and they're saying the evolution, they're saying, I'm thinking in mundane world, like, a plow to a tractor is like a normal, regular, mundane kind of one step to another. They're like, what about you don't have to plow the field? what about things grow and you don't have to tend to it? You know? But that's what we're talking about, because they're saying metaphorically it
Right.
doesn't work for a field, but it does work for your life. You've been plowing fields and tilling them in a way that's unnecessary. You know, they're saying tilling them, like churning it up, making sure you're all good, making sure there's no stones in there. That's great, because that's what we've been doing, getting rid of the big rocks and stones in our field so we can grow things we love, right? But that's it.
Right.
You know, it's not to, and we don't even have to manually do that. We notice them and say, but get that gone. You know, it's like you can just point at it and say, nope, get it out of here. So no more heavy lifting necessarily, unless you want to. I know some people like heavy lifting. You know, that's the thing, is you can be free. You can do whatever kind of
Right. You
heavy
get to make
lifting.
this.
You can struggle and strive
Mhm.
all you want. We're just saying you don't have to. And then when you have a choice, you know, the struggle and strife gets to be optional, then it doesn't make it so terrible, because when you struggle and strife and you think you have no options, it's more terrible. But it's not true you don't have options. There's always options.
There's always options, and I love the fact that it's a call to sit back as opposed to a call for action, and yet
Well,
a call to sit back is a call to action.
right. But it's not just to
It's so
sit back,
cool.
it's to be
Yeah.
allowing and to fill up and allow that. You know, to me, I just keep seeing it's like I feel like I've seen this more as a cartoon reference than actually I've seen it in person. But I remember when I was little, they used to have camping lights that you could turn it up and it would glow brighter. And it's like that's what I keep seeing. It's just this
Oh
bit of,
yeah.
well, it's like a dimmer light, you know, but with the
Right.
I always remember in the darkness of night when you turn that campfire light, it just emanates so, like, it's super bright, right? Um,
Mhm.
that's what I keep seeing. It's like, but when it's that, and then all of a sudden, you know, the darkness is gone, and you do not have darkness in your presence at all when you are the light. And then you're just
No,
being in the light with
exactly.
other people. And when other people are doing the same thing, then think of how light they're showing me, like a party. Like one lantern, so you're camping out, a bunch of lanterns, there's a party, right? Like, so, you know, but it just gets to be this bigger thing. And they're saying, rather than, you know, the manual plotting and planning and plowing the fields and all of that, it's like, what about this bigger allowing and filling up with the good stuff, filling up with the resource of source as light energy, of the energy of the universe, of the, you know, God particle, whatever that, you know, they're saying, or AKA, also known as love. You know, it's like if you think of
Right,
it,
exactly.
if you think of love and light as a particle that builds all of the universe, it's like that's what we're talking about. Just a foundational kind of essence of beingness, right? But we've got that. We just haven't been living from there. And we haven't
Right.
you they're showing me like somebody make a muscle arm. We haven't flexed on it, you know. We haven't said, you know what, let's really take this, you know, baby out for a ride. They're saying, and we thought we had a horse and buggy in ourselves, and it's like, no, 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 you have a Maserati. You just don't know how to drive yet. So, not that you don't,
Oh
they're
my
like,
god.
that's so funny. They're like, not that you don't know how to drive, you don't know how to drive a Maserati. It's like,
We can drive a Honda. That's a different
exactly.
story. Yeah, exactly.
That's what we've been doing. We went one step past the horse and buggy, which, you know, to a Honda. But seriously, like, you know, now, but that's it. They're like, you know, that's where you get used to filling up your gas tank with high octane, and, you know, getting used to revving the engine and getting used to going fast. They're laughing. That was for you. Getting used to going fast. But you're seeing,
I
they're saying
know.
it's only
Fucking
fast
lightning speed,
when
man.
you aren't flowing. Because when you're flowing, it just feels like you're doing something different sometimes, you know?
Wait, can you say that again? Because I cursed. What you said again?
I said it only feels fast when you're not letting it flow. Because when you're letting it flow, you're in the moment of it, and it's just you're doing a new thing, or, you know. But it's not even like I'm doing this thing and that thing, like you're bouncing. It's like I'm doing this thing and then I do the next thing. But that can happen in 5 minutes or that can happen in an hour. right? Like, so they're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but removing the context of what you think time is, all you're ever doing is one thing. Or, like, you're never writing a song when you're in the shower. Oh, maybe you do. I don't know. I just realized, like, you could totally do that.
I mean,
Um,
that, yes, but you're only in the moment that you're in, is
right.
all,
Well,
you know?
and they're saying, but in reality, but in our
Mm-hmm.
brains, we're 500 places at once because your brain's trying to manage all the things that you thought you needed to manage. And we're saying that's why we don't need your brains right now, because your brain thinks it needs to do stuff it doesn't need to do. What we would request you do is open up more, allow more, be the light that's filled up, that's strong and vibrant and juicy and, like raring to go. Like, that's how filled up.
Right.
But we don't walk around that filled up most of the time. Like, but they're saying that's part of what comes first. It's funny because before they were trying to get me to balance, like, get into your balance space. And they're like, now your balance space needs to be a little, the next rung up, which is juiced, right? Which is vibrant, which is, in more clarity. And that's the thing that they said
Right.
to me. It's like, you have to allow for more clarity. You have to allow yourself to be inspired. There's a space for that. It's not to I get there, like struggle and strive to get there. It's to let the space. I'm seeing, and like when they do like fake fog on stage and then it just kind of blows away. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. It's like when
Yeah.
you put your attention on, oh, I want this thing, and then you
Oh,
feel
that's
what that
cool.
is. But they're saying there's a bigger thing to fill up to. Fill it, and it's like, okay, not only am I going to get to a balanced state, I'm going to get to a place where I'm big and bright and juicy. I saw this thing on, oh, it was what is it, the Real Indian Dad? I looked at he doesn't have a YouTube, but he has an Instagram. And somewhere on it, he had quoted, it's not even a quote, it's just like a snapshot of a page in a book. And it was something about being kinder than is necessary. And I just love that as a concept because it's like, I've just been aiming for let me be nice to people, right? Or let me be kind to people in a way that has me compassionate, honoring, and loving, right? And it's like that seemed like a big get, but it's like, what happens when I can be kinder than is necessary? And even the concept of that kind of tripped me up because I'm like, isn't it funny that we can think of like kindness or being loving in gradient terms, right? It's such a
I
weird thing to me.
know.
And it's like, but the truth
Yeah.
is that it is a further place to aim. It's like I think I've been talking to you about like you know, over adjusting or over correcting or overshooting. I want to end up way over there, and if I end up over here, it's still further along the path. So
Mhm.
it's kind of that thing of just conceptually, I was like, what does that look like to be kinder than necessary? And to have that as an overriding notion when I go into the world. And I mean, I feel like I have capacity, of course. Isn't it funny? It's like, for all the things that I've studied for, or, like tests I've taken, it's like, this is the real test. Can I be who I want to be in the world, by my command of myself, my command of me, which is such a weird thing because it's like it is what we do all the time. We just don't think we have that, I guess, breadth or ability or capability, or maybe we just never have the choosing of it. I don't know. Like, it just feels like that's a new space to me.
I feel like the choosing hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
We didn't know we had the choosing of it
Yeah.
or
Well,
the
and it's
option to
also
choose it.
even to know its potential. Like, I just have never
Yeah.
thought of things to be. I never, this is terrible because I'm thinking, it's like, I never thought to choose, I thought to choose things better than they are. I never thought to choose them as good because I never thought they would be good,
Wow.
which is kind of sad now that I'm looking at it. But you know but they're saying it's like
We're
every
raising
rung
the
on the
standard.
ladder is is movement forward. It doesn't matter because they're saying it's
Yeah.
like when you're moving out of misunderstanding, you usually move into a different misunderstanding, but you evolve in it because in our limitation of the old, we'd never had the full picture. You can't live in the mundane world and be in full clarity necessarily. I shouldn't say that. Is that an well, they're saying that's not actually right because they're saying that's the assumption that people are coming in to do what I'm doing. They're saying there's not. People are coming in to do entirely different things, to be in the mundane world, to participate in that kind of way. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not your clarity. Okay, so the way they're showing it to me is like your clarity is already there, always there. It's kind of like, you know, they're showing me like the inside of the part of you, and they're saying, but it's kind of looks like the storage closet for some people, you know, and for us, it's
Oh,
where it's the central, functioning system of everything, right? It's like if it like
right.
it's just it plays a different role for people. But it's like if you choose that, you chose it from a bigger divine being. That's the thing is that we choose things from our mundane perspective, but we have a more empirical choosing that takes precedence regardless. Like if you were meant to be on a certain path and you decided to try and go on another path because the world swayed you into that perception. I don't know why I always think of American Idol. Because I guess because they used to always show those kind of delusional people that would try to
Yeah,
sing,
they
and I
do the
don't.
contrast.
Right,
They
right.
do the
And it's like,
contrast.
but it's that to me is like you got sold something that wasn't yours to do. It's like, and maybe it was that. Maybe it was
Mm-hmm.
like they wanted their 5 minutes of fame or whatever that is. But I don't know. It's like, but it's kind of misaligned. It's like well,
Right.
they're saying to use myself. I thought I should be a business person. That's a good thing. That was sold to me as a, do this thing. And well, they're kind of laughing. I am a business person. I have my own businesses, but it's not in the way that I thought it was. Like in the mundane world, I thought I had to build and create and make it happen. And I did that. And it wasn't that it wasn't
Right.
fulfilling. It wasn't my path. I wasn't meant to end there. It was like I had this
Right.
ahead of me. And so,
Yeah.
that's the thing is that people need to look at it. It's like when things don't work out in certain ways, they are working out, because I was so upset when I didn't,
Right.
well, I don't know. I think I just was so unclear about what I wanted to do after, you know, I left my businesses and stuff. And it's like I had that haziness, and they're saying, but yeah, I also was open to what came my way, and that was my real path. So, but they're saying it's like we do whatever we need to do to get you on your path of what you were already chosen to be, regardless of what you chose on top of it. You know, you're always getting called forward to your true self. But we need to understand it as that because sometimes we think we're supposed to settle down and be this, and it's like maybe you weren't meant to just be that. Maybe there's something bigger calling you
Mm-hmm.
forth, and you're resisting. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
And
I'm I'm,
it's a
I'm
matter of listening and choosing.
I know I'm such an off on a tangent, but the choosing is, and they're saying you just noticed in
Yeah.
that how powerful the choosing is, because if you don't choose, you get what you get by default, but not really, because again, the
Yep.
universe is always trying to say, okay, see how this feels, see how this feels good, this doesn't feel that way, but that's where our discernment comes in. Let's bring all the podcasts in. you know it's because you
Tying it
need
all
to
up. I
you
love
need
it.
to recognize that the
Yeah.
things that feel bad that aren't aligning aren't for you, and we don't live life that way. We think I must be wrong if this thing isn't, if I didn't get that job I
Mm-hmm.
must be bad and wrong, and it's like no, that job was not for you. If it was, you
Right.
would have got it. It's like
Yeah, exactly. It's that simple. It's so much more simple than we make
I
it.
know, but
It
we
we're
add a lot
assigning
to it.
meaning.
We add a lot of
Yeah,
fear, we add
we
a lot of
do.
judgment, and we add limitations. Like, okay, let's make this bad and wrong. I didn't get the job. I'm bad and wrong. I'm never going to get a job. I'm never going to get a good job. I probably won't
Right.
survive because I won't be able to make my own money. Like we go down the toilet, right? And it's like,
You know.
okay, how about not that? How about this is giving you really good
Mm-hmm.
information. This did not align with you. Now what? Now there's another opportunity. What is it? I don't know. You're pointed in the wrong direction. You have to turn around so you can see it.
Right.
So,
Oh, wow. I love it. So I love it so much. I love, again, it comes back to the same core stuff.
oh yeah.
The
I mean, it
same
is.
core
Well,
things are at the base of it all.
the part that I'm loving about it is just it's the blossoming out and the clarity of it, because that's not just a metaphor. That feels what it feels like to me. Like it's filling in, like all the unknown spaces of the new are starting, like the dots are starting to connect for me a little bit more. And not that, I don't know. They're saying, they're kind of showing me it's like, you teach language to a child by learning the alphabet, and then you learn small words, and then you learn bigger words, and then, and they're like, that's how we do too. Like we've got kind of the big
Right.
concepts. We know the tools we're working with, kind of,
Kind of.
exactly. And, we can, they're like, they're so funny. They're like, and you can make small words. So, but they're saying it's like your vocabulary is about to get bigger, right? Like what you can, well, what you know of and how to put things together will expand, but it will not expand in doing more. It will expand in your knowing how to cultivate it, to curate it, to wield it, to choose and allow, because they're saying it's ultimately that fits into every single new potential. So, but they're like, it shows up differently in different things, right? That's what we're noticing. Same things in different ways. So it gets to be a lot simpler, but it's to see the connected dots, right? It's like, oh, when I'm in this space and something is in that space, there creates a space in between, and that's my connected space, and I feel that as a resonating energy, or something like that. But they're saying it's like, we're starting to realize we're getting lit up before we even realize what's going on. So that's what there is to notice. Notice when you get lit up, and notice when you're not. And if you're not, is it just a resting space, or are you further, down the road, I mean, below the road than you want to be? Are you in a ditch somewhere, or are you just, in the space?
Right.
But that, again, they're saying that's the checking where you are thing. Not checking where you are, but if you, it's not, it's, are you where you want to be? Sometimes resting is okay. Sometimes I need to take a nap is a perfect space. But that's the question. It's like we don't check where we are a lot. We kind of go like, let me check my list. Let me check my list of things I should do. Not how am I? Where am I? What do I want? It's where should I? What am I doing wrong? How can I be better? And what are the 500 things I need to be doing now? Like we really do that. Not 500, but well, a lot.
All the time.
Okay. That's
exhausting
cool.
just hearing about it.
I know. I'm like,
I know.
I need to sage myself just talking about it.